after we recorded last week's episode.
Oh.
Wait, did you delete our...
No. It wasn't my fault.
Did it go blank?
Also, our last episode's gone.
Well, we have the first 23 minutes of it.
Oh my god.
Okay, so
That's fine. I mean...
we recorded an hour and 20-minute conversation. It was a glorious conversation. So, like, okay, you know how we had the audio troubles, like, with Audacity? It just stopped recording. Yeah. So I switched over to Windows Recorder, which is, like, I don't like using that because, like, here you can see the waves moving. Like, you can see the progress of it. Like that. So, like, I switched over to Windows whatever. It showed recording the whole hour and 20 minutes. Like,
I was watching
it was ticking.
Mm-hmm.
But when I clicked, like, stop and save and went back to it, it was a 23-minute file.
Huh.
It just, like, stopped at 23 minutes, but didn't tell me that. It just, like, looked like it kept recording. How stupid is that?
Did you YouTube and see what was...
I mean, I looked it up, and people were having, like, nobody had, like, the same issue. It was, like, mostly because, like, no one uses Windows Recorder to record, like, hour-long conversations. Like, people probably don't. It maybe has, like, a time limit or something.
Yeah. I mean, it's nothing we can't work past, though.
It sucks, man.
And because, I mean, all that came from our heads. But yeah. I feel like we shouldn't have that same conversation again because it would just be, like, replicated.
No. I mean, like, in the future, like a month or two from now.
We might just repeat it naturally.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so we didn't look at our Google Doc, and we haven't decided on a topic.
This is the Young Adult's Guide to Spontaneity.
We're going to do an episode on being spontaneous?
Yeah, dude, that's a great idea.
Okay.
Dude,
I like it.
The fact that we didn't plan, look, I'm a very big proponent of if you procrastinate enough, good things will come out of it.
Okay.
Like when I was going to NC State, I procrastinated and I didn't sign up for housing, and then I got to stay in a super sweet apartment because all the dorms were taken.
Good things come to those who wait, right?
Yeah. Good things that come to those who procrastinate.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's our saying.
I've always procrastinated in my life. And
everybody procrastinates.
Yeah. We're right?
I'm a habitual procrastinator.
Maybe it's an addiction. What if it's like you're like what we?
Well, it's actually the way your brain works. There's a TED Talk about it, about procrastination, and like people who are procrastinators can't get motivated except by procrastination. It's like they have to feel like the panic set in before they can actually do anything.
Oh, the Manning gene, whatever you call it.
What?
It's the thing to where like you, like, for instance, you don't practice. You go to practice. You're like, you goof off, and then the game comes, and all of a sudden, like, what is that saying?
Did you say the Mickle Manning?
It's something like that. But what do you call it when clutch coming in clutch? Like you clutch it. Like they say that a lot in sports, and like for instance, when we play tennis. Like, I wanted to be on the team so bad. Never learned how to play tennis. I just practiced with you guys. But I didn't care about playing tennis. I just wanted to be, hanging out with you guys at tennis practice. So I played as hard as I could. And I focused all my, like, thought process on just being able to, like, pass. Like that time we were doing King of the Court or something. Like that, for instance, like, I impressed the coach enough to play. Like, I was a freshman. Weren't we freshmen?
Yeah, but it wasn't hard to get on the
team. No one got cut from the team.
Okay, shut up.
I love that you're trying to, like, tell us.
Surely there was, like, I remember, like, a little bit of people got cut.
No.
There were no cuts on tennis because there were barely anybody to play.
Well, there were some people that didn't get to play during tournaments.
But you remember, right? Well, you weren't there freshman year, but...
Well, that's true.
But freshman year, I just remember, like, playing my heart out that first practice. And I've never done that before.
You just thought you were going to get cut. And then you found out nobody gets cut.
Yeah, I was like, okay, now, okay.
Yeah, that's like the first couple years of soccer, nobody got cut. And then, like, our junior year, they had to make cuts because, like, a lot of people were playing.
You know why they had to make cuts.
No, well, they didn't have to.
But there was people on their team.
But there was enough people finally to where they could make cuts. And, like, that was like...
Were you there that junior year?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. But, like, dude, people would go out for the soccer team because they wanted to play a sport, and they had this mindset of like, well, they don't make cuts, so I can just go play that sport. And then that was like a savage year of like, we're cutting like 5 people.
Well, that's the time the Grillmans came in, right?
Yeah, but like they made the decision based on that we had so many turn out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, true. Yeah.
But it was like
It was just too many people, man. Like even for,
I never had to worry about getting cut.
like the bench. You remember the bench? Like it was always full of people.
Yeah.
Is that gonna mess up our audio?
I don't know, man.
The fan is on.
All right, sorry. I'm burning up right now, so
It's
I tried
hot.
to turn it.
Yeah, it
down.
is kind of hot up here. It's because like this time of the year, you turn the heat up a little bit because like some nights it's like freezing, but then some days it's a little hotter, so the heat's probably on higher than it should be.
And heat rises, and we're upstairs.
Yeah.
And we're all three good-looking guys.
A little homo there. Okay.
How's that homo? Hey, I call myself good-looking. I mean,
You gotta say
that's
no
straight.
homo before you say
So
something like that.
we should do the thing
It's implied,
before we
man.
actually
I know. I'm just messing.
before we actually get into anything. We should do the thing where it's like
Oh yeah. Welcome to.
we don't do that.
I know.
I'm just saying, like,
Oh,
my
you need
name's
an intro?
Clayton.
Oh, right.
This is my voice. So if you hear this voice, you're listening to Clayton. I don't want you to get me confused with Hunter because I don't say the things Hunter does.
Nope.
All right, my name's Hunter Baumgartner.
My name's Sid the Kid. Look me up on Instagram.
Oh gosh, I need to change my Instagram handle. Okay, in all seriousness, my name is Sid, and if you hear my voice,
And if you hear my voice,
then you know it's me.
you know it's me.
I know it always takes a couple
hard
podcast
to imitate your voice.
episodes to like learn who you're listening to.
Yeah,
I listen to some podcasts. I don't know their names.
yeah,
I just know them by like that's the dude who has that voice.
yeah. That's true. And sometimes I don't even make the difference out. I just listen.
Yeah.
I mean, it ends up working out in the end.
Yeah.
I am under.
So I guess we're gonna talk about like I think we should have a split topic of spontaneity and procrastination.
I want to focus more on the spontaneity though.
Well, we didn't really procrastinate. We didn't have like okay by a certain date we have to decide what we're gonna talk about. So it's not like we procrastinated.
Maybe we should have something like that.
Yeah, maybe like okay by Wednesday of every week we need to. Maybe even sooner, maybe Tuesday.
Yeah, and I want it to be known that I had texted both these guys and then asked what our thing was, and this was like 2 days ago, and I didn't get a response.
Let me look at the message. He said,
Hunter hiding behind his microphone.
"What are we talking about this week?" And he said that yesterday,
So only one day. It's not so bad.
and I didn't respond for no good reason. I was like playing Call of Duty.
Yeah, we were. All
I mean,
playing Call of
that's a
Duty.
good reason, right?
We always play Call of Duty like every day. We need to get back into Fortnite because they did
Dude,
some crazy things in
Don't talk to me
Fortnite.
about Fortnite, man.
They updated a lot of stuff.
Hey,
like the zombies are on the map now.
I know, but like I was watching clips from TwitchCon, and there was all these little kids, and I'm like, I don't want to be a part of that group. I want to be mature.
Play Blackout.
That's what we say about Magic,
Blackout. Magic.
right?
Well, the average age for Magic's like 22 to 30 or something.
Yeah, look at the
Okay,
kids
never
that come in. They're
Because
all
like it's like the kids
old.
that are good at Magic really impress me. Because Magic is a very complicated game.
It really is.
Like there's a little girl that goes around and plays in Grand Prix, and she's like 8 years old, something like her name's Dana Fisher.
Yeah.
She's on coverage all the time because like they're like this girl's incredible. She plays elves. You would like her.
Dude. Hell.
She plays modern elves.
any Boros players.
I don't know.
Probably not.
Most like people in the Magic scene don't like pick a guild or anything. They're just like, I'm gonna play the best deck whenever it's the best deck.
How do they know these? I feel like the people. Oh God. Okay, we're getting into Magic. We gotta stop.
Yeah, that's true.
We need to make a whole podcast about.
What we play every.
No, we just need like to have the general topic of Magic and then just like see where the conversation goes. Because like, I guess we should just do 2 different podcasts. 1 a Magic podcast, and 2
Video games.
this thing we do,
Or this.
whatever this thing is.
Okay.
So let's talk about being spontaneous.
I think it's a great.
What spontaneous thing have you done recently?
See, okay, so I think spontaneity is a great attribute to have, and I think people that have that are more happy. And I can't think of anything I've done, and that's a problem.
Same for me, man. Like, I'm a planner. Like, I get mad when my girlfriend or friends text me the day before and like, let's do the thing.
Fiance.
Yeah, I guess. I don't like that word.
It took a long time.
Sounds
to catch on
weird.
for me.
Fiance.
Anyways, I don't even know what I was saying. Oh yeah, I can't stand it when like somebody texts me the day before and is like, "Hey, do you want to go do this tomorrow?" I'm like, "Give me a week." I'm such a planner, man, which is not a good thing. I mean, it is a good thing, but it's not like you should be a little bit spontaneous.
Yeah.
I used to be spontaneous, and then now it's like I don't want to do that right now. I just want to rest, lay down, come home after work.
I think that's what it is like we have a very limited number of leisure hours now, so we have to like pick what we do wisely.
Yeah.
I think you guys have like more restrictive schedules, and I think that kind of takes away the spontaneity, like the ability to even do something spontaneous, because like when you get off work, you're not down to like go.
Yeah, it kills the mood.
Yeah. Oh, something I drove by it today. They tore down that that building.
Yeah.
So me and Hunter one night were really spontaneous, and we went and like snuck into this abandoned building, got to the roof of it, and then we went to the roof of another abandoned building, like clear across town. We like for some reason we were just
we were in it,
enamored with abandoned buildings.
Can I just elaborate on this story?
Yeah,
okay.
Go ahead.
So this is my first time ever like sneaking into something like, I remember everything now. Okay, so like we ran across the street. We're like, oh God, we don't want any cars to see us. So we like crouched and like ran across the road crouching, like went in through the break in the wall or whatever, and it was like total darkness. It looked like we were in like The Walking Dead in that building. It was just nothing in there.
Yeah, it did feel like larger than life.
Yeah, and I just,
for sure.
I remember like looking around like, oh God, is there somebody watching us? But then we like walked up the steps. It was really creepy and eerie. But then all of a sudden it changed, because when we were outside on top of that roof, you could see all the stars and the little glimmer of
sounds really
light.
Romantic, dude.
Dude, if Hunter was a girl, we'd have had a moment.
Okay. But yeah, it was awesome. I was like, this is crazy, because 1 second you're like adrenaline's pumping and you're like spiked on all levels, and then the next you're like calm and relaxed. And it's like awesome. And then we're like, let's go do it again. And so
and then we found the other one.
Yeah, well, what is that other place called?
It's just a mill in Shelby, North Carolina.
But it's the place that they filmed the Hunger Games, right? Yeah. So okay. And then did we climb over the fence or did we go underneath?
No, we found. Okay, so we went into two different places. The one we went inside it, and then we went in and then climbed stairs up to the rafters, and you can navigate the entire abandoned warehouse from the rafters.
Yes.
And like it's literally hundreds, maybe even thousands of yards of like a rafter network in the ceiling.
Yeah, and we were looking down and it was just like darkness.
Yeah, it was probably 100 feet down.
Oh yeah.
Like, and this is like a rusted old warehouse.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, it was probably a little bit stupid, but
One
I mean,
step cut my leg open. Oh, it would have been bad. And then we saw cops like driving past.
Yeah, we did
and
see
like,
a cop.
And we ran and like, oh gosh.
And then remember the last place we went to, we had to hop like the low part of a fence and then find like one of the doors.
Yes.
And then that actually happened to be open, but it was behind a fence, so I guess that's why they didn't lock it. Yeah. But then we went in and their lights were on, and we saw like a pack of cigarettes sitting there that had been recently opened. And so we were like, holy crap. Yeah. So that's kind of when we got out of there.
Yeah.
But
I remember coming back out and seeing cars, and then me and Sid. Who else was with us? I feel like there was
just you and me, dude. I think we were just bored, and we're like, what do we do?
Okay, yeah. And then we didn't we run behind? Yeah, we ran behind trees. It was crazy. But it was fun.
I've never really done anything like that.
It was incredible. It was also like, if you could look back on it, it's probably one of the most boring things looking back, but when you're in the moment,
boring?
It's like,
I don't think it's boring. I don't think that's the right word.
No,
I know what you're trying to say.
It's like boring to describe to somebody else that's not in it.
Yeah. Hey, we went to the abandoned building. Like, it was cool. Like,
yeah.
That doesn't sound awesome, but
fun story. You know, like if you were describing to somebody else, but when you're in the moment, it's like.
It's all about the adrenaline, man. Like, I remember one time going around, like, we had like a paintball gun, and we were ding dong ditching people, and like we're just kids. So like if they caught us, they're not.
Yeah, they're not.
We weren't gonna be in much trouble.
We were going to jail.
Yeah, it was like the adrenaline was pumping, man.
I remember when Jalen King touched, or was it King or Heel? I don't know. It was one of. He went to the like only house on the corner of the street where like there's nothing to hide in front of him, and he like rang the doorbell. And he waited there for a second, and all of a sudden you just see him like start running like he jumped over trees like deer, like not trees but bushes. They're probably like 4 feet high, He cleared them straight, and he was like booking it, like running with all arms, like running. Oh man, it was crazy. And then he like did a power slide on the ground, or like, and then he was awesome. Like, I'm back. We were like, yeah, yeah. And then this guy comes out. He's like, what the heck are these kids doing? Stop ringing my bell. And then like
it was like 1 a.m.
Yeah, and then dude, the paintball. We were going around and shooting like, I don't know, electrical boxes and like.
We're shooting stop signs.
Yeah, and it was just we were like shooting them in the. We were in
this
the bush.
This was back in high school. We don't do this nowadays.
Okay, so I have one other story that's about ding dong ditching.
Oh, dude.
This is just gonna turn into a bunch of stories, man. We're gonna keep snowballing.
Because it was spontaneous.
Well, this podcast topic was spontaneous, so rabbit holes.
All right,
cool. Gonna happen.
Well, I was at a camp out, and we were middle school age, and so we were just camping, and it was like probably. After midnight, and we were all really bored, and we couldn't go to sleep, and so there's this. He lives in the middle of the country, and there's this. He has a neighbor next to him, and their house is like even more in the middle of the country. There's no neighbors, just like farm field, and so we decided to go ding dong ditch that house, and so I'm the one that ends up doing it. I'm not sure why. I guess I was the faster soccer player guy. I don't know, but anyways, so I go up and ding dong ditch it, and then like. We didn't think it through because there's no place to hide. Because, like I said, it's just surrounded by farm field.
Yeah.
So we ding dong ditch it, and then I like run into a ditch that's near the road, and we hide in there for a minute, and then we just decided to like run because there was like no answer. But then like 10 minutes later, we get back to our campsite, and we look back, and all their lights are on, and then we hear like this truck revving up, and they go into full like search. In destroy mode. They're like, well, somebody rang our doorbell in the middle of the night, in the middle of the country, in the woods. Like,
I mean, if you're on their side, you'd be like creeped out.
Oh yeah. In retrospect, it wasn't smart, but like, dude, think about me, a little middle school kid, and then there's like these people like searching for somebody to like, stuff like that. Just like you just feel alive,
Yeah, it makes me smile every time I think about it.
So I mean, like on the topic, that's the type of stuff you don't plan either. Like, you're not like. All right, in 2 weeks, we're going to go break into this abandoned building.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's all derived from boredom. Like, the more bored you are, I feel like the more fun things are.
Well, see, it's a weird thing, because like, if you think about spontaneity as like going on a cool trip just on a whim, you can't be 100% spontaneous about that. Like, there's a little planning that goes into everything, but like, when you're a teenager and you just go do random crap because you're bored, that's like true spontaneity.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of that going on nowadays.
Well, it's because we don't have the time. It's not even about the
us. It's about them, like the younger generations.
I feel like that hardly ever happened to me. I probably have like a handful of stories.
True.
So like you could say the same thing about me, but I still do have a handful of stories.
True. I feel like the younger generation's not doing as much because they're
playing Fortnite.
Yeah, they're playing Fortnite.
Yeah, but we play Black Ops and Minecraft.
But we already had those experiences.
See, I've played more video games now than I ever did in high school. Because I used to just get bored with them. I wouldn't want to sit there for hours at a time.
See, it was the opposite for me. I used to play RuneScape, and that was a life of mine.
Oh,
like,
I know.
Diablo, man.
Like full hour, like 8-hour days, even more.
No, I'll do that with some games, but
Skyrim.
I don't know. I didn't play a ton of games when I was little, so I don't know.
Yeah, it didn't detract from my life though. I mean, because at that age, I would just come from school and go home because I didn't hang out with friends a lot.
That is an interesting conversation though. Like, is that affecting like the spontaneity of our youth? Like, because there is just way more ways to keep yourself entertained just sitting at your house. Like, there's Netflix and YouTube and video games and everything.
Yeah,
that applies to us too.
I mean, I know we had that, but I just don't feel like it was as big. Or maybe I'm just.
I remember I didn't have
like
a
an old
phone
person
until I was in high school, and before that, I used to go to the woods all the time and have fun.
Yeah, dude.
I didn't get a PlayStation until I was like 16, 15 maybe.
I used to love to go in the woods and just like have a knife and just whittle and like fetch stuff.
Yeah,
dude.
Stuff.
No, same. Like me and Spencer, we got down here to the house he's living in now. It used to be his grandma's house. We would spend hours setting up traps for his grandma's chickens, and we would try to catch chickens in little homemade traps.
Yeah.
But that, like, seriously though, that's the type of stuff where I think it's the whole thing where this newer generation, their parents were kind of millennial type, Whereas our parents, I didn't play video games or have a phone until really late because my parents didn't allow me to. But now it's just like everybody gets a phone when they're 10 years old. Everybody has a PlayStation.
Lower than that. It's like 8.
Like me having like the new age console and gaming system and games when I was 8 just blows my mind. Like I never would have had that stuff. Yeah. Also, though, when we were that age, there wasn't like online gaming. There was, but it was like very minimal. Like online gaming wasn't really a thing until we were in like middle school, high school.
Yeah.
So that changed the game too. Because you can sit at your home. You can sit at your home and play with your friends instead of actually having to go out and make chicken traps.
Yeah.
I feel like this is all going to go into a reverse one day. Like we're getting to the point where like staying inside 24/7 now. And then all of a sudden they're going to make this game where it's like virtual reality, where like, Ready Player One, and they're going to be outside fishing, hunting, doing all this stuff, flying in the air, being Superman in this VR world where we feel like we're outside all the time, but we're really inside. And then
I have a different belief. I think that all of our generation, we're seeing this, and I think we represent like the bigger part of the population and how people believe. And I think that people are going to backlash against all this stuff. And so when we're raising kids and it comes time, we're going to be the parents that like, how we're talking about play. Clayton, like your parents and our parents, how they didn't grow up with this technology, so we didn't grow up with it because they didn't believe in that. But this new generation does. We're going to be the generation that doesn't believe in it again.
It just means it's going to bounce back and forth.
Yeah.
Because all that technology is going to exist. So when our kids grow up, they're going to feel the freedom. They're going to get that technology. And then, I don't know. I think it'll bounce back and forth between.
I just think there's going to be like a social backlash against like social media, like really immersive like video games and stuff that just takes so much of our time. Because we all, inside of us, desire for the spontaneity and for the genuine like time with other people and like doing things that are significant, and we know that all this other stuff isn't giving it to us.
Yeah, I mean, you're starting
subliminally,
to
so because sometimes we aren't self-aware enough to like know that.
Yeah,
especially like I was talking to you last week about how I'm so much more self-aware now than I was when I was in high school. Like even the past 2-3 years, I've become so much more aware of like how I spend my time, where my mind is at any given point.
Yeah, that's why I feel like once our generation becomes adults, you kind of like you have to become self-aware by that point.
Yeah.
Unless you're just like you don't pay attention to anything, you don't care.
Yeah, it's funny though. Like I feel like the younger generation is becoming more self-aware because even like Mackenzie has a niece who, I don't know, she's like 3 or 4 years old. She seems to like know what's going on. Like she's like one of the smartest kids I've ever been around, but like I feel like something about technology is making us more self-aware, which is weird because it seems like it'd be the opposite.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be reflective when you're posting on social media. It's like, are people going to like what they're seeing? What do I want to express to people?
Yeah.
And I hope that the self-awareness that, people are generating is like genuine, but like it could be ingenuine if they're just trying to create somebody else, which is everybody understands that problem with social media. But I mean, it's not something to ignore just because everybody understands it as being a problem.
Well, I look at it like this: like you go through like a cycle, or not a cycle, but like a phase where you're like, oh, I want to post on Instagram, I want to be popular, and then you start realizing like, this doesn't really make me feel like it used to. Like, I feel good every time I get likes, and then now you're like, it's like,
what it does do though, and I've noticed this because I've had been posting on YouTube, it does make you self-reflective. Even if you don't care, like if you don't get 1 million likes on this photo, you're not going to hate yourself, but you are self-reflective. Especially when I'm like editing my YouTube videos, I have to like literally watch myself like be a person. Like you never step outside of your body and like watch yourself. So when you like watch yourself on film, especially like saying opinionated things or doing whatever, like you start to really, it's like a trippy thing where you start in real life start to think like, how do people perceive me?
Yeah. And almost it awakens the self-awareness or something like.
Which even just posting a simple picture on Instagram, it gets you in the mindset of how do people perceive me, which is a good and bad thing. Like a good thing in the sense that you can use that to become a better, more productive citizen, or you can get like depressed that
Yeah.
You think people hate you and all this stuff.
Well, that's where I was going with it. Was like there's two types of people. It's like those that just wallow all in the of like how many people like them and how many people don't. And like I've seen it, like especially with girls that get broken up or like they get dumped. They go immediately to Instagram and Facebook and they just post like every single day.
Yeah.
And it's like because you're self-aware, like what that person's going through, but you also know what they're doing. Like, all right, so this girl's doing this because she wants attention, you know? Like, and there's other people that do it and they're like, all right, I need to do this because this big thing happened in my life. I want people to know about it. But I don't want attention. I just want people to know, like, this is what happened. So, like, there's those people and the other types of people that use it for attention.
Yeah.
And so, like, I feel like we're not doing this for attention. We're doing it because we want people to know, like, what this is about, what life's all about.
I'm doing it for that, and just because, just having real conversations is so refreshing.
Yeah.
And, like, at first it was an experiment, and I'm like, this is going to be great, you know? But, like, after that first conversation, I'm like, this is something that's going to be good for me. And this is something I kind of need. Like, I need real conversations. Not that I don't have people in my life that can facilitate that, but I just don't make time for it.
Yeah.
I think it all goes back to that attention thing. Like, instead of using the internet as an attention outlet, you need people in your life who are going to give you enough attention. So, like, sitting there and have these conversations where we're paying attention to each other, and, like, I have a great fiance or whatever who gives me attention. Like,
yeah,
you need to find real people to give you attention instead of digital people.
Yeah. And you know what's funny? That most of the time these people that are searching for attention are getting, like, backlash. Like, oh, why are you always posting about it? Like, you know, there's trolls.
But it's still attention. Like, that's the thing, man. Like, they don't, like, yeah, it kind of hurts them to get negative attention, but at the same time, they get the attention they're looking for.
True.
Which is, like, the same thing. I mean, you know, class clowns who get in trouble and, like, they have these bad reputations and stuff. They don't care. They're getting the attention they're looking for.
Yeah.
Good response, man. Yeah.
No, I looked at Clayton because I knew he was a class clown.
See, if you dive into the psychology of why I was a class clown, though, it's different than attention seeking.
Oh, I know why you were doing it. You weren't seeking attention.
It was more on the, like, sarcastic side of, like, I'm a really smart dude who wants to take up this role that usually a less smart person takes up, and it was kind of an ironic thing, not really attention seeking. Because I loved the irony of the fact that I was, like, really smart. What are you doing?
No, I was just telling you about somebody else.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There was another type of person that was doing it to seek attention. And we hated him.
Well,
hate's not the right word.
I didn't hate him.
I didn't hate. I just hated the fact that he did it for attention. I didn't hate him as a person.
The fact, see, I think I was a compassionate enough person, especially in my senior year. Like, I could see he was doing it for attention, and I was like, I became compassionate. I was like, I'm going to be his friend. Like, I was really nice to him because I knew he needed that.
True. But sometimes...
You're just a mean dude.
I'm not mean. I was compassionate, too. I was his friend, too. Like, I was hanging out with him all the time. But it just... Oh, like, I've always been dealing with people, like, that annoy me. Kind of like... Not saying, like, annoying, but, like, kind of like pick at, you know? Constantly, like, pick at you, like, every day is picking at you. Mm-hmm. And you either grow with thick skin.
But they don't even know they're doing it, man.
Yeah, well...
Or they do know they're doing it because that's the only way to get to you.
True, but what if it's never... My thing was, like, I knew if I kept acting like they're never going to get to me, that they're going to eventually stop. But they never stopped. So it just kept making it... It was like a progressive thing, like, where it just kept getting worse and worse. But I always, like... I don't know, like, thanks to you, I didn't have to... I never broke, you know? Because... Let me tell you, oh my God, when me and Clayton first met, holy crap! Like, he was the first bully. I could say.
Yeah, I can see that.
He was the first bully.
I'm actually very interested in your guys' first, like, in your meeting. Like,
we can go deeper into the fact that, like, looking back on it, I would label myself as a bully, but in the moment, I'm like, I'm not a bully. Like, I'm a nice person because, like, my mom was a guidance counselor and all about, you know, no bullying. In the moment, I was like, no, but, like, looking back on it, I was like, dang, I was a bully.
I don't think you ever bullied me. I definitely would like see you and Hunter, and I'd like cringe sometimes because I'm like, that's like harsh, man.
But that was a weird too. It was a weird thing too because we
relationship.
Exactly, like we had a friendship.
Yeah, I knew you guys.
I never
were friends.
bullied anybody that like.
It was more like rivalry. That's what I could say.
You guys didn't have a rivalry.
I never bullied a random person.
Rivalry.
I didn't go up to like a kid I thought that looked funny and like I didn't like push his books out of his hand. Like I wasn't that type of bully.
It was psychological bullying. That's what it was.
Yeah, but it was only to like certain people that I knew could handle it. Because I wasn't about to like be a real bully.
I mean, look at some of our friends that like pop off the hinges like one comment. Like you don't want to mess with them.
And I never mess with those people.
Yeah, like
because I know like. I think that's the whole thing with me being like a class clown and a bully is like I was really calculated with it.
Evil genius. Yeah, but I don't know. I just got to a point where it was just like at first I was like, God, I hate this dude. Leave me alone. Stop talking to me. Why are you making fun? And then I got to a point where I was like, what if I change the game? What if I change it up some? Throw him a curveball. So I can't remember when it changed, but one moment. Or I don't know when it changed, but I think it was maybe like the youth trips that we went on. It just got better. Like the more time we spent together, the less time it was like.
Well, also Jacob came around.
Oh yeah, and Clayton chose
like I had a new punching bag.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Here's what I want to at least say. I think when you look at our friend group, our core friend group of me, you, Spencer, Marcus, I guess Jacob. Even some like other people, some secondary friends there,
like Jay and Alec and
like personally
Mike.
Because I was like a nerdy dude who like kept that suppressed. Like I feel like me and you were the two low ones on the totem pole of like how cool we were. We were in the AP classes and like I just felt like we weren't like cool.
Yeah.
So like I would do things to you to make myself feel better and to like put myself above you on the totem pole. And that's like me looking back and like reflecting on it. Like at the time, like I didn't consciously do that. But like if you really dig deep into the psychology of why I was doing it, that is it.
True. But I was always like, one of these days, I can take him. I know I can.
Physically, like in a fight,
you could always take me physically.
Yeah, I know. I always kind of knew that in the back of my head. Like there was one time we were playing airsoft. It wasn't Clayton, but it was somebody else that came at me. He was like pissed, and I did some crazy stuff. Like. I didn't feel any of the pain, but he shot me like 15 times in the chest with a CO pistol, which they hurt.
Yeah, I know.
I grabbed it, undid it, and then threw him to the ground. And then I was like, "Whoa, what just happened?"
Wait, you undid his pistol? Did you like drop the mag
and like slung it apart like it was like an action movie?
What? No, you didn't. Man.
I did, didn't I?
I don't remember that.
It was when I shot you in the face with.
I remember that.
And then he got mad and then came after me.
I remember that.
I remember him coming after you. I don't remember you breaking his pistol.
Okay, well, I didn't break it. I slid the chamber off of the top to where you couldn't shoot it anymore. Threw it to the ground, and then threw him in the ground in like a split second. Well, to me, it was a split second. It probably was like 30 seconds, but like, I don't know. But, and that one time we were at Caswell, I got them at Caswell.
There's been multiple times where you have like snapped, and like I think you black out, and then you do crazy things.
Yeah.
It's from all the video games and action movies you
watch? It's definitely action movies.
Yeah.
I was into hardcore, like, me and my dad watch movies all the time.
The Westerns.
Yeah. No, but looking back now, even before I met you, Marcus did the same to me.
I know, like, you've always been bullied, man.
I know, but, like, with me and Marcus
is a little different about it.
He wouldn't, like, bully. He was more like...
Marcus turns it off sometimes where he's just really, like, not at all. He's just nice.
Yeah, like...
Whereas I don't care what kind of situation we're in.
I've never seen him angry. Like, I think there was one time...
I don't think I've ever seen him angry.
Well, there was one time it all stopped. Like, we used to fight all the time in elementary school. Like, we'd get in trouble. And we'd sit in timeout. But the thing was, they set us next to each other in timeout. And we'd look at each other and we'd be freaking mad at each other. And then, like, 30 minutes later, we'd be like... We're going to be best friends, aren't we, for our whole lives? He's like, yep.
Sounds like a movie,
We're going to do this every day. He's like, yep.
Sounds like the opening scene of a movie. Like,
yeah, I know.
And then you flash like 30 years later and you actually hate each other. And then it's the story of like you rekindling your friendship.
Yeah, I know. It's like, well, Lean On Me for... What is that movie? Lean On Me? Yeah, it's like the kid movie of the four dudes.
I have no
idea. I don't know. But anyways, yeah, I don't know. looking back now, I'm glad that happened because I don't know. I just am the way I am today.
Well, that's the beauty of our lives is if you like who you are as a person, everything that led up to that is like a good thing. Even if you went through like some tough crap, which I've been a pretty privileged guy. I've not went through a lot, but like that's why like people say no regrets. If you actually like who you are, then like everything's a good thing.
I feel like if I never got bullied, that if somebody came along that I didn't know that like did that to me or said like a remark or something, I would flip out. I would go crazy. Like, and I'd probably get fired because at work there's always people make sly remarks.
Well, like you've got to get beaten down in life, man. Because like you see these like macho dudes who like they try to like they act that way where if somebody says the slightest thing, they'll like snap at them and act like a big macho man. But like that's because they've never like been beaten down in life, which is like. That like suppresses like your anger and like I don't know, maybe not.
I can tie this back into like spontaneity too. I mean, we're gonna come full circle.
Oh yeah, we got.
I mean, maybe the reason we're not spontaneous is because we fear that failure, but like the failure is probably what we need to learn from, you know, and to be better. So like if we'd step out on that limb, yeah, we might mess up. We might do something we regret. Me and you could have got arrested. But you know what? Maybe that's what, like when we're
breaking in.
Maybe that's what we needed. You know, I mean,
no, that was spontaneous because it was like we would have got in trouble if we'd have got caught.
That's what I'm saying, and maybe that's why a lot of people aren't spontaneous is because they're afraid
of the fear
everything that could go wrong.
Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying.
But we should. I think sometimes you need to be smart and not stupid. But like, if there's a fear that's kind of irrational, or you know, you just live a little. You know.
I'd say my fear of like when I think of spontaneity, I think of like going somewhere, like let's take a trip to California, like tomorrow.
That would be so fun.
But like I think my fear is like when you're taking a trip, when you're like there has to be a plan because like it could just suck.
Yeah, because you're on that car trip, like you're halfway there, you're like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like
and then
we're
you
like
get
8
there,
hours in, and we're just like, God, what are we thinking? Let's go back. We have so much to do Sunday.
But like if you actually. Even if it's a short, like it's still spontaneous. Like let's go to California next week, and then you make that plan. Like here's our hotels. Here's what we're gonna do. You just feel a lot more relaxed.
Yeah,
I guess that's like some people don't have that personality, but my personality definitely like I stress unless I know what's coming next.
Well, how important do you guys think it is to have spontaneity in our lives? I mean, is it okay to just know exactly what's coming next and be happy with that, or should we challenge ourselves?
Too much of it becomes chaos, and you don't know what you're doing in your life anymore.
Like what being spontaneous or being
like,
structured? For
instance, when I didn't have a job, and I was still in college, and it was like we had a week off of college, or we had a week break. I literally did like whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted for that week, and I just did it. It was anything on my mind, and for like 4 days of it I was like, this is so fun, but like the 5th day I was like, oh, what am I doing, you know, like I feel like I'm wasting time. There was some times when I was like right at the end of my college like semester, like my last semester, I was like, I want to start making money, I want to start like planning for things, but like I think for me, the fear of like being spontaneous is like the regret later, or the what do you call it? The consequences.
Yeah.
I think you have to be in a good place, like before you do something. Like, say you're not in a good financial place, and you decide to take a 3-day trip to the beach and blow all your money. Like, you're gonna regret that later. But like in the moment, you're like, yeah, this is like a spontaneous, like fun thing to do. But like you gotta like be in a good place before you do stuff like that.
Yeah. So I mean, this isn't a message for everybody because I know some people that live spontaneously and they need less of that. Yeah. But I think all of us could stand to have more of it in our lives. So
yeah, I think so. I think on average, most people need more like spontaneity.
We could call it like responsible spontaneity, or you agreed to yourself like, hey, if I have a weekend free, you know, do something out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
Or if I have an empty night or I get off work early, go like find something in your life that matters. Maybe a special person. Do something for them.
Yeah, it's like an oxymoron or a paradox. Like you plan to have a free day to be spontaneous.
Yeah, and I think even planned spontaneity is fine. Like, I think it's still spontaneous.
Yeah.
Even if you say, hey, I have the weekend off, what can I think
Well,
to
yeah,
do?
if your average weekend is like laying on the couch and watching Netflix, then doing literally anything is like spontaneous, which is like the boat I'm in of like most of the time I'm just like, I'm not lazy. Like when I'm off of work or like on the weekends, I like to relax. I like to just sit back and maybe not go anywhere, but like experiences are so important in life.
Yeah.
And like you realize that so much more the older you get. Like you would rather go experience something than sit there, or you would rather spend your money on experiences than spend your money on something else, like something dumb that you want.
Like your baking habits. Like you probably talk about that. Like
My what?
Your baking, like
baking
or whatever you cook downstairs. The
what about
meth?
Like
meth. That's all a disguise, man.
You're talking about the spontaneity of my baking?
No, yeah, kind of like to me it seems spontaneous, but like
yeah, well, that kind of goes back to the obsessions thing, which we won't talk about right now. But like, I'll have these things I'm really interested in and passionate about, but like I'll not do it for like months at a time, and then like I don't know if it's spontaneity or if I just get this spark of inspiration one day to do something. I guess that's my personality too. Is like I have to feel motivated and inspired to do something before I do it. Like I don't wake up in the morning and I'm like, let's go white water rafting. I have to like, if I like wake up in the morning and watch a video of a guy white water rafting, that's what will entice me to do that thing. I'm not like the idea guy who's like got all these ideas of how to be spontaneous.
Yeah.
That's another thing with me. I never like can think of anything spontaneous until I look at a YouTube video where like, but whoa, that like just that is crazy. The fact that you just said like you watched something and you wanted to do that and spontaneously.
Yeah, but I
and
mean,
like for me, like I watch, like I want to go drive a really nice car like one day out of the year, and so I plan to go doing like an exotic car trip or something. But like I would have never done that if I hadn't watched that video.
But isn't it spontaneous just to walk out your front door and like do something you haven't done before, like walk into the woods and like
into the woods, build a teepee?
Just go walk around the woods, enjoy nature. I mean, isn't that spontaneous? It doesn't have to be like some expensive.
Maybe that's also start viewing like doing laundry and dishes. I'm being spontaneous because I never do laundry and I never do dishes.
Yeah. Just reframe everything so you actually can be productive. Maybe that's the answer
to. That would be crazy. Like think about that. Just like train your brain to think like, okay, what do I want to do today? Let's not do that and do something completely different. Like today, I want to go home, lay in the bed, watch TV, and play Red Dead Redemption. Instead, I'm gonna go outside and shoot a bow and arrow.
Yeah, exactly.
But how do you make yourself do that?
It's all about the mindset thing. Like everything that I think about always comes back to like changing your mindset in some way of like how you view what you're doing. Like if you view playing Red Dead Redemption as like this is like relaxation and leisure and like it's a good thing for me because it's relaxing my nerves, but if you change your mindset and be like that is being unproductive, like then you don't do it. Because like on average humans don't want to feel bad about what they're doing. They want to like feel good about I'm playing Red Dead Redemption because I'm relaxing myself. Like you make these rationalizations. So if like you can change your mindset to not rationalize things, but like, yeah.
I get you. Like if you keep telling yourself this is unproductive, eventually you'll get uncomfortable playing. Like lately I played it for like 2 days straight. Not 2 days straight, but like every day after I came home I played it. And by the third day I was like, I don't want to play this. I want to play Black Ops. But I was still playing games.
Yeah.
If I can treat myself and say, all right, this whole thing of gaming is unproductive over and over and over. Oh, by me saying this out loud, it's actually helping me like change my way of thinking. I think talking about things is the biggest way to, like, talking about your struggles and like what you deal with is the biggest way to start changing what you do in the future. Like by us talking about last week, how like one of the things I do a lot is not eat healthy. Like this whole week, I literally just ate healthy, and I didn't even realize it until now. I'm like, wow, I didn't even buy a single fast food place. I just brought my meals to work. That's awesome. So
I mean, that's kind of why we started this podcast, is because we want to have conversations of significance that help us. And I think this whole venture has been pretty spontaneous. Even of course today was, but like even when we started, we're like, hey, let's just do it. It wasn't like we planned it for half a month and bought like equipment periodically, and we're like, we just like, okay, let's do it next week. It was Clayton's idea, and then he's like, buy your equipment, and then we bought it, and then we did it. And
I was listening. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was listening to a podcast this morning. It was a College Info Geek podcast, and it was an episode on like how to stop impulsive spending. And one of the points he made was like, and there's been research and studies done on this, that if you view yourself as like financially stable, then you'll be less impulsive in your spending, because like you have this mindset of, I'm good at money, like I'm good at saving money, I'm good at not spending money on stupid things. Like it literally just takes you thinking that about yourself to make you be that way. Mm-hmm. So I think it's like the same thing with being spontaneous or really anything, like
the Mickey Mantle gene. Thinking that you're good at
Mickey Mantle. Okay, there you go.
Mickey Mantle. The thinking that you're so good at something over and over and over again until you eventually become good at it.
Yeah, kind of the same thing of like, okay, I'm a spontaneous dude. And then you just keep saying that about yourself, then eventually you're going to do spontaneous things, just because like you convince yourself that you have this personality trait, even though you didn't really have it. You just convince yourself of it, and then it happens.
I think that's how we form our personalities.
Yeah, which is fun. I mean,
subject forming personalities.
It's just cool because that's like based on research.
Yeah,
people have done research and like asked a bunch of people to make statements about themselves, and then research, did they do the things they said they were going to do? And it more times than not, it turns out that that's the case.
It's like the Nelson Mandela effect, like in how enough people believe it, and so it just becomes a fact, even though it's not true, but like it almost becomes true in a way.
Dude, I think this is like how I've gotten through life. Is like so many people think I'm smart, but really like they'll ask me a question. It's the fake it till you make it thing. Like I'll make myself sound smart about a subject, but eventually I get smart about that subject because I'm like interested in it. So I'm like, when it comes to computers, like I know a little bit about it. Like I'm in IT or whatever, but like my family thinks I'm a computer genius, and like I'll make myself sound that way, but that actually makes me smarter in a weird way. It's like fake it till you make it's a real thing. Like I wouldn't give it as like the most sound advice, but like it's a thing.
Yeah, definitely.
And maybe it's because you take pride in the fact that people see you as like an expertise in something. Yeah. And so like if you're proud of something and that's something that matters to you, then you're probably going to go out and like put a little bit of time into it.
Yeah.
And if you put time into something, that's how humans get good at stuff. That's
and if you enjoy it,
yeah,
then you just keep doing it.
Yeah. And
if you don't enjoy it, then you stop.
It's really interesting. I mean, I wish we could just like quantify all this stuff and then download it into our brains. So that it was an ability. It was just a raw ability. It wasn't something conceptual. It was just like,
I'm gonna +1 this ability.
Yeah, I mean,
dude, yeah, like a video game.
Dude, have y'all watched Westworld?
I mean, I've watched the first episode.
You gotta keep watching it, because when they have the robots up on the screen, like first of all, every robot has like, I don't know, like a aptitude, whatever, ability sheet or whatever, and like when they're looking at them, like, oh, what's wrong with this guy? It shows their body like in like a diagram form, and it shows like all the attributes of the human psyche, like aggression, like empathy, and it's so cool because they'll just be like, this guy needs to be more aggressive and less empathetic, and it's like, what if we could do that to ourselves?
It might be our future,
dude. I don't know if I've told either of you about this. I think I have. There's like this productivity app I used to use where it was like Life RPG, and like every day, say working out was one of your goals. Whenever you work out a certain number of days, it like lists out your traits, and it would like give +1 to your strength, and then like
that's awesome,
dude.
Like hygiene, health, and everything. So like it kind of goes back to that. Like if you open up your app and you see that your little avatar on your phone has like 50 strength or whatever, and that's really good, then like you start getting this mindset of like, I'm like a fit dude. So then you start doing more and more. It's like a snowball effect.
That's crazy. What is this thing called?
It's called Life RPG. It's an app. It's like a phone app that you just like track your daily goals and habits, and like you get Like if you do enough quests, you get gold, and you can buy items. Like you can buy like a sword, and yeah, it's cool, man.
Dude.
But like literally, I mean, you still have to like keep yourself accountable, because like I could go in the app and lie and say I worked out today, but like
but you lie on yourself, and you're like, okay, this ain't working. So you might as well be like telling yourself the truth.
Yeah. I think it's called Life RPG. Let me look it up real quick and just make sure. I know there's a couple of them out there.
It's just, like, what if that's what it takes to make yourself, like, make your whole life like a video game? What if it would just, well, I don't know, that would make it, see, I don't even know how that would be.
Okay, so there's this episode of The Big Bang Theory.
Oh, gosh.
Where Sheldon, in order to make all of his decisions, just carries around D&D dice.
That's actually a good idea.
Which is funny, because, like...
If I roll a 20, I'm definitely doing it.
Yeah. He's like, should I eat a ham sandwich? He rolls at a 1. He's like, I guess I'll eat turkey today. You know?
Hey, dude, that's actually a really, like, semi-spontaneity. Like, I don't know, like...
Maybe, hey, that should be our recommendation. Like, hey, guys, all right, all the listeners, this week, take a D20, which is a 20-sided dice if you don't play. Or just take a 6-sided dice and let that make some decisions for you.
If it's 1 and 3, don't do it. If it's 4 and 6, do it.
Yeah.
So there's 2 apps that I've used. One is Life RPG, which is just like your life is an RPG. The other one's called Habitica, Gamify Your Tasks, which I think that it's a little cooler. Like the UI is a little more polished, and that's the one where you get gold and you can like give yourself a weapon and all this. It's just really cool. But yeah,
that sounds awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. Thinking about being spontaneous with a D20 though.
Dude.
Like,
yeah.
Yes.
I feel like that could actually be positive.
It would be cool if you make a list of 20 things of like, maybe even like you do it with your chores, where like you got washing dishes, doing laundry, going to the gym, or whatever you want to put on there, and you roll dice. Going to the gym wouldn't work because you want to do that every day, but something like, say you have like 6 tasks that you have to complete in a week. So you just write those down, and then each day you roll dice, and whatever you hit, you do that day. So like each week is different. Like you don't always do laundry on Monday, so like it seems like you're mixing it up.
I think that would really break down like the wall that keeps you from doing that stuff.
Because you're rolling dice, you're like, oh, I hit a 6, I gotta do laundry.
Dude.
Like it's just
I'm just thinking about this.
It makes you
now.
Like it's not like, oh god, I gotta do laundry today.
Yeah, until you get down to the last day when there's only one thing left.
Yeah, and you're like, okay.
And that's the one thing you don't do.
Like, well, there you go. If you roll like 1 through 5, you don't do it, but everything else you have to do, like a D20.
Oh, dude, you gotta do it, man.
Yeah, I know, but like you take down you make the chances higher for you doing it if it's the last day.
Also, like rewarding yourself, even if you don't use an app like Habitica, where you like if you like work out, it'll give you a piece of gold or whatever to spend on your weapons or whatever. But like rewarding yourself in real life is really important. Like,
yeah,
if you do the laundry, eat a cookie. I mean, it sounds like you're trying to train your brain psychologically, which I guess you are. Like, it's crazy to think that way, but like we are habitual people, and like you kind of have to train yourself.
It's crazy though to think that you like training your own self, training your own mind. The thing that makes you think about training yourself. Training. Oh god, I'm in a loop.
Well, no, that's the thing. You have to train yourself to train yourself, because like if you actually do the like Habitica app or Life RPG, you'll be good. But then like you have to convince yourself to actually open the app up and do it.
Oh, dude, so much like.
So like you kind of boil it down to your one habit is going into Habitica or Life RPG or whatever you choose to use. That's your one habit. The rest is like a game. So like if you can boil it down to like, this is what I have to do every day.
Yeah. I see what you mean. I'm still stuck on the loop though. Of like, I have to train myself to think of training myself to, and it just loops you. I don't know.
Well, it's funny too. I just thought of this. Like the older I get, I'm only 22 years old, but like this is like early adulthood when you start to figure things out by yourself. Like your parents can't teach you everything, and that's the thing. Like you can't be trained to be like self-motivated and productive. Like you've got to do that stuff on your own. You've got to like build those systems into your life by yourself, unless you're like you have a spouse. Like a spouse helps a lot because they keep you accountable or whatever, but like mostly you have to train yourself.
Yeah. I think this has been like the funner portion of my life because I just feel so responsible.
Yeah, you feel in control.
Yeah, and on one end it's like stressful, but on the other end it's like I'm in charge of my life, and I'm making all the decisions now. So my life is basically an RPG. I'm out of the train. You know, like at the beginning of an RPG, like you're just ready to get out and kill monsters.
Yeah.
But they keep you in like, what's it called at the beginning, like training or the tutorial.
Yeah.
So you're stuck in the tutorial, and like that's as a kid and teenager, that's what I felt like. But now I'm like out there, and I'm like. And I haven't even got out of the first city yet. I'm just like...
This is like The Witcher 3. Yeah. You realize that this game is a lot harder than you thought it was.
Yeah. And so I just need to, like, you know, say, okay, there might be high-level monsters out there. I just need to be spontaneous, get out of the city, and go explore.
Dude,
that's where I'm at.
You know what would be a really interesting study? Is to study a bunch of different video gamers and, like... So you've got those gamers who literally just, like, try to beat the game as fast as they can, and you've got those gamers who try to 100% it. Like, they stay in the first city.
100%er.
Yeah, me too. It's like, I wonder if that affects, or if that, like... kind of reflects how you live your life.
I think so.
Because like if you're a 100%er, you're gonna take it a little slower. You're gonna be more of a planner, like all this stuff. But if you're like, I just want to beat the game as fast as I can, you're kind of just like stumbling through life, not really knowing what's going on. Like that'd be cool if they actually did research on that.
Maybe we'll do that one day.
Yeah, dude.
They need to come up with video games.
We don't even need that. We need like 1,000 people.
Yeah,
they need
I think
to
that's a large enough sample size.
They need to come up with video games that actually test that theory, like almost like Sims, for instance. Like that's almost you playing yourself in a way.
You know what I want them to make? Like I want someone to make a real-time game where the time in the game is the same as the time in real life, where if you play for an hour, you can only progress like an hour of the day.
Holy crap.
Which like that sounds like it could be kind of boring, but like that would be like kind of like living life through a game.
Well, see, there it goes back to my thing of virtual reality gaming, like where you live your life in another world.
Yeah,
almost.
But like, I don't know if it'll work. But
well, there's some people that probably would play that game forever.
Well, that's the danger.
Yeah, the danger is that you get somebody that feels alone, you know, that doesn't like the world, bullied all the time, that can't like have friends. They find this game. They play it. They're like, they feel awesome.
Well, have you seen or read Ready Player One?
Yeah, I've watched the movie.
Yeah, exactly. Saying like, if that ever happens, man, we're probably screwed as a race.
Well,
it'd be fun.
What's that movie? With the robot with the little small head. Not
the Iron Giant.
No, the small head. Like
Wall-E.
Wall-E, yes.
Wall-E, yeah.
In Wall-E, all the humans are fat.
Well, see,
they're all like on scooters flying around.
Like, if we have that option, will we take it? Like, because everything's provided for them. The government's different. Whatever. Like, I like to always think about Star Trek, because in Star Trek there's no currency. Like, they don't have money anymore. Like, they just have this weird economy that just works. But they still have jobs, and they still, like, they're a functioning society. They're not a bunch of fat people laying around. Like, that's how I hope the future is.
Yeah.
But, like, then you see Wall-E, where you don't have to have a job. You can just sit and watch TV all day. Like, what choice do we make as the human race?
Yeah. Well, it all goes back to, God, it's hard to think about. Like, what do you want to do? What do you want to do as a kid? Like, did you want to be an astronaut?
No, I want to be an architect.
Okay, well, what if in this virtual reality world you can be an architect and create your own world and then live in it, like they do in Inception, where he like lives their whole lives in the dream for like until they like get so old that they kill themselves because they're like just ready to die.
Yeah.
And then they come back to the real world and like, oh my God, like I just spent eternity in this place and now I'm in the real world again. Like, think about that. That's crazy. Like, the fact that like technology gets to the point where it gives you what you want and everything more. And then that's when it gets to a point where people don't want to live in the real world, because you can't fly in the air in the real world, but you can in this game. And so you get addicted to that, like, the unrealism of it.
Yeah.
And I think video games people want them so, or they just like it so much because it's like, it's safe spontaneity. It's like a way to be safe and still go explore that dark corner.
Yeah.
Or skip out on that. Like even in RPGs, you can just like start a quest with somebody and then just say, "Oh, I'll come back to that later," even though like that quest was happening in real time.
Well, I think that's the most fun thing about like real life RPGs, like D&D or Fantasy Age. It's like you're playing this character and it feels more real because you're actually sitting there in person and doing it. So like you can go do anything you want to do. I mean, your DM might like say, "No, you can't do that," but you feel like you can live through that character.
Yeah.
And like that's even bigger in real life RPGs than video games, because like you're kind of restricted in video games a little bit.
Yeah.
I think the best thing to do, or the best thing that could happen, is to gear everybody that like tries to live in the video game world back to their own world, like almost like a U-turn. Like, okay, it gets to the point where like I want to do this in the real world now. Like I've done this in the video game.
Well, I mean, you could like, if you did want to be an architect, and as a teenager you play this virtual reality game, you become an architect, and then you learn how to be an architect, and then you come back to the real world and you can actually be an architect. Yeah. It's kind of like a new education system.
Well, that's
like,
oh my gosh, that's a whole nother thing. Like, if they could, if schools would just, like elementary schools and high schools and middle schools, like if they would just stop with the stupid standardized testing and do like geared towards kids what they want to do.
But you don't know what you want to do in school.
I know, but like
I didn't know what I wanted to do until I was 19, 20 years old.
Give them something to help them pick it out. Like if instead of going to school, you went to a class that taught you about everything you could do in life, and then
you need to be given options, because here's my problem with how the education system works now. You're kind of put in these little funnels of like, when I was in 5th grade, they figured out I was really good at math. So the only things that I was really, you should be an architect, you should be an engineer. Like, I was never told that I could be an artist or something. Like, you need to be really open about the occupations that are out there. But yeah, I think we should have like a class or two in high school that's like, just teaches us about the plethora of jobs.
Those are my fun classes too. My favorite ones, I mean.
Yeah.
You know, those
structured
classes?
ones with the teachers like kind of just took things into their own hands.
Like the ones where like they gave you like a test and you had to figure out what you're good at. Like the ones that were like, okay. Like
well, everybody's drawn to those tests online. Like, if somebody's like, dude, go take a job test to see what you're interested in, like, that's interesting to me. Because I want to see what this test has to say about me. Like, I might disagree with it, but, like, I'm still drawn to that because I want to figure out who I am as a person.
Yeah.
But, like, there are no classes, and there's nothing like that in high school that's like, here's how to be a human, and here's what you should.
Oh, my God, don't get me started. Like, even college, like... Yeah. Going from high school to college, it's nothing compared to college.
Like the equivalent of that in college is like when I went to state into the business school, I didn't declare my major. Like I took accounting classes, I took marketing classes, I took all these classes so then I could choose. But like we need that on an even bigger scale where we take a class that like teaches about humanities, it teaches about science, it teaches everything.
Well, I'm glad I took the liberal arts
where you can figure out what you want to be, because like that's the hardest thing for people, especially Americans, like because we're so privileged, is like you can be anything. Like literally, how do you make that decision? Because like I was a creative and artistic kid, but I was never told I could be an artist. Like, go be an engineer.
Well, I think that's what it takes, is somebody else telling you like, this is what I see that you're good at. Maybe you should try this.
But when you get like parents and counselors involved, they're like,
well,
this is what you're good at, and also it'll make you money.
Yeah, that's what they think. Like, we need him to be successful in life.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to be an artist because that's not successful. Well, if they didn't have that in their brain, they could be like, okay,
we've got to change.
Do what you want to do.
We've got to change what success means.
Yeah.
So like,
for real.
To me, success right now, like as a 22-year-old dude, I might think differently about this 10 years from now, but like if I was just genuinely happy, which I am, I'm happy right now, but like if I could just say I'm genuinely happy, I'm married, I have some kids, like I'm just happy in life. I don't care that I'm making 20 grand or 60 grand. Like I'm just happy. That's success.
Yeah.
But we're not. That you don't think about that in high school.
It's because it goes back to what's pumped in on the internet. Like all these YouTubers talking about their cars, their, like rappers talking about rich. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Like all this rich culture of like it makes it worse nowadays because there's so many young kids becoming rich off of like gaming and YouTube and like social media, and it's making it the drive to be successful even worse, or not worse, but it drives us to be more successful, but it's deep down it's about greed and money.
Yeah. I think a cool way, I'll give you a second, Sid. I think a cool way to tie this back to spontaneity is if you go out and do things that are more uncomfortable, you might figure out, it's like, I could literally want to be like the next Picasso but not know it unless I go take an art class. And like if you be spontaneous and go do things out of your comfort zone and do things that aren't normal, maybe you'll find your passion.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I mean that's the power of spontaneity, for sure. Yeah, so I wanted to go back to what you said earlier about like what decision is going to like determine like what we become, like what this world becomes. And I just think it's going to be a series of decisions, and I think like everybody's decision counts. So like, ask yourself like what do I want to be? What do I want to do? And don't just think about like we're talking about, like don't put it in terms of what success is supposed to be. Put it in terms of what it means to you and how successful it would be to you. And just don't be afraid. I mean, you need to, like, the thing I realize is that the more like real something is and the farther I am away from technology, that's where I'm happiest. And so, we default to these comfort things, but when it comes down to it, that's not what fulfills us, and that's not what humans thrive on. So
yeah, man. Like the only thing to fear is fear itself, man. Like literally, like if you're scared of doing something, then you should be scared that you're scared of doing something, and you should just get over that and go do it.
Yeah. Hugh Jackman, my dad always quotes this.
Yes, I love that dude.
Yeah, he's awesome. And he had a quote.
Jackman,
he said,
"Oh, shut up."
He had a quote that said, "If you fear something, run towards it."
Yeah,
I
definitely.
Mean, that's something that you could literally live by.
Sword and shield in hand.
So I realized this. It was either the summer after my senior year or the summer after my junior year. I was on a mission trip, and like I was just trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. Like those 11th grade and 12th grade years is kind of like, what the heck am I going to do? I remember we had the devotion or whatever one night, and we were talking about Peter getting off the boat and walking to Jesus in the water, and like it's like you got to get off the boat. You got to step on this scary, stormy water and trust in your path, and trust that whatever your path is meant to be is gonna happen. Like that, I remember like that being an epiphany to me. Like I've heard that story a million times, but like that night I was like, wow, I've got to step out of my comfort zone, because if I don't, I'm just gonna wind up like, if I would have followed the path that I was going on in 10th grade, 11th grade, and become an architect or an engineer or something, I would not be happy right now, and I know that. So I'm glad I stepped out of my comfort zone. I guess we should wrap things up. It's been like an hour and 15 minutes, so
yeah, we had some good conversation.
It always feels like
I'm ready to keep going.
It always feels like we talk like 30 minutes, and then I look at the clock and it's been an hour.
Yeah.
So
that reminds me of like the whole thing you just said. Like when I got to college, like I was like the same way. I didn't know what the heck I wanted to do in my life, but those like the liberal arts classes kind of geared me towards like what interests me, and I found out like a lot of like history was interesting me.
Yeah.
And I look back now, I'm like, would I have been happier doing like archaeology?
Well, I had an experience that kind of encompasses all that, where I go in as a business major. You can make good money doing that. I drop out of school to be an English major. And then I'm like, the stress of the fact that you can't make a lot of money doing that, like you got to balance it. You can't not make money. Money makes the world go round. Like it sucks that that's the case, but like I would rather be in IT, like be a computer programmer, and then be able to do English as a hobby, and like you got to balance your happiness that way, because I'm also interested in computers. So like, but like I took a leap of faith when I dropped out of school, because like I could have went and got a 4-year business degree and been kind of set up. But I took a leap of faith and just dropped out of school, and it's worked out for me so far. And I mean, I'm not the type of guy to be scared by a decision like that. Like, I didn't really sit at night with my head in my hands like, should I drop out of school? I just knew that I should. That kind of came naturally to me. But I mean, if you're scared of something like that, I don't think you should be. I think you should just, like, that's obviously a decision you should discuss with your parents and discuss with your counselors. But you can't be afraid to make the decision if you have to make the decision.
And I think you feel it too. I mean, I feel like we all have that thing inside us that we're scared of, but we know that if we did it, it would make us better.
Yeah.
And you know the difference between like something you want to do but you're scared of because there actually is bad consequences. You can get yourself hurt or in trouble. You know the difference. And so like I think we'll all just challenge you to like think about that thing and like, give it some time, give it some thought, talk to the people you care about it. Go after it. Be spontaneous. With the things that matter. Chase your dreams and don't be afraid of them. Because there's nothing to be afraid of. If you fail and fall flat on your face, if you lose every dollar you own, if all your possessions burn to the ground, you might be better off from that.
A lot of famous people went from literally being bankrupt. Like Chris Pratt, the guy that went from being the weird dude in the office that they were literally had for the first episode and he was going to be done, went from like sleeping in his car to becoming one of the most successful movie stars to like bounce back from that.
Yeah. But don't go the opposite way like Johnny Depp and get fired from Pirates of the Caribbean and
dude, he
have a wine addiction.
I was going to say he drinks wine every day. He has so many houses.
I think he spent like a couple months ago his accountant came out with he spent like $50,000 on wine.
I saw that.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Have you seen him now? He looks like
a ghost.
He looks like
Grindelwald, man.
He's become his character.
He looks bad. He looks way better as Grindelwald anyways. Like, what happened? Did he gain weight for that? I don't know, man. He looks good in that, but in real life he just does not. He looks like a method
pretty psyched
addict.
For that movie. It comes out November 16th, I think.
It does?
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited too. That's so much. Okay, we're getting off subject.
All right. I think we should wrap it up.
Yeah.
So yeah, be spontaneous. Balance your spontaneity with planning, because I think balance, anything we talk about, balance is gonna come into that. So
challenge yourself and chase your fears.
Yeah, and don't be afraid. Don't be like, I don't want to be spontaneous because, don't fear failure. Obviously fear going to jail and stuff, but don't not do it because you're afraid of failure. That's the worst thing to do.
All right. Well, thanks for listening.
Yeah. With that said,
Godspeed and good conversations.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Young Adult's Guide to Planet Earth. We hope you enjoyed the conversation.
If you want to join the conversation, make sure to join us on Twitter @YoungAdultGuide and Instagram @YoungAdultsGuide.
And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe and ring the bell if you want to be notified. Like, comment, and join the conversation.
Talk to you next week.